I'm a CW fan.
And I'm not.
And we want to keep it that way!
I hate everything.
Is that water?
Nope. Join us for a live special LuZoCast where we talk about the CW Heroes vs. Aliens crossover. I hate everything still.
Hello, folks, and welcome to a very special, sort of a pop-up episode of the LuZoCast. If you don't know, this is basically a review of the four-part crossover for the CW. What are they calling it? Heroes versus Aliens.
Or Invasion.
Or Invasion. That's the comic book
That's
arc,
the comic
correct?
book arc,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, so the four shows, which include Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. Not League of Legends,
There you
as
go.
I've been
You got it right.
calling it many a time now.
Calling it League of Legends. That's awesome.
So let us jump right in. This is gonna be a sort of a quicker episode. So let's just jump right in. Initial reactions. I guess I'll go first because first of all, I don't watch any of these shows. I've never had a desire to.
Christian was the test. He was like the...
He was our,
Yeah, I was the test, and let me say,
Yeah.
what a roller coaster of a ride it was, because it started off on the very below basement level with Supergirl, and then it got a little bit better, and there were entertaining moments.
You don't have to lie.
Does it
trying to
convince
find
me?
words.
Does it convince me to watch any of those shows going forward?
Yes.
Hell no.
Really?
none of them?
But there were entertaining
Language.
parts. If there were more specials, I probably would tune in. But it's not something I want to make a regular part of my viewership.
Okay.
But
okay.
you know, overall, it wasn't as depressing overall as I was expecting. All right, I'm now going to turn it over to the CW experts. What were your reactions? What are your impressions?
I'll go real quick. Supergirl was a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
Wow. Flash, really cool. Kicked it off with a great. Kicked it out of the park. That should have been the beginning of the crossover.
It really was. Let's be
They
real.
shouldn't have bothered posting Supergirl as the beginning. The Arrow, I thought was a surprise. I was pleasantly surprised because it was also the 100th episode. I thought they did a good job of tying that in and then also relating it to the story. And then it ended, obviously, tonight with Legends of Tomorrow. And I thought they did a great job. It was super nerdy. There was a lot of callbacks, a lot of pop culture references.
As per usual.
It was what, as a nerd and a person that semi-knows these stories and these characters and so forth, I appreciated it.
Nice, cool. Sarah?
What he said. But pretty much, yeah. Like, Supergirl was not even part of the crossover. I mean, it was...
Yeah, it felt very
It was,
cut
well,
off.
it was... You know, I want to like Supergirl. But I just... After watching... That's the first episode I've ever watched of Supergirl. I don't really want to watch... I like her, and I like the character, but I just can't watch that show, I think. It makes me a little sad. I would like to like it, but it just didn't draw me in enough. And I thought maybe if they'd incorporated more of the crossover, it would have. I don't know. But maybe not. The Flash was good, and Arrow was... I'm surprised you said you liked Arrow.
It was great.
Because Ravi has been super unhappy with Arrow.
That was a
this
great
season.
episode.
Actually,
But it
of
was.
Arrow.
It was a really good episode, and I liked
I'm not saying it's perfect. There are definitely
no,
things
but
wrong,
they were
but overall, it was
they
okay.
really did
was
kind
okay.
of well with the whole they're battling inside their own heads and against the aliens within their own
Brain.
psyche.
Exactly.
And then Legends was good. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it all. Overall, I was pleased except for the whole Supergirl first part. I liked Supergirl and the rest of it with everyone else. I like her interactions. I just can't watch that show, I don't think. Sorry. Not sorry.
Tuna?
No, makes sense.
Tuba's good.
So I hated the whole thing.
Nice.
I'm
Cool.
glad we have
Great
one.
reaction.
I did. I mean, Supergirl. I think, like we talked about, it wasn't even part of the crossover. Which, okay, whatever. Flash was the best part, but it was such a. there was too much going on for me that it was almost a breakneck speed. I wish they had tried to, and I think one of my biggest disappointments with the crossover, which I guess I understand, especially with the Flash and Arrow episode, they tried to still make Flash a Flash episode, Arrow an Arrow episode. They sort of tried to make Legends a Legends episode.
No, they didn't.
Well, they did with like Stein,
True.
Stein's arc, which is kind of there.
Right,
but then
Legends is an ensemble, so it's a little easier.
it's a little
for it to-
easier
True.
to do that.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, did they actually use everybody because they could, because it's a show of everybody and
Everyone,
whoever.
Yeah.
And then I think they did specifically with Legends in the first half with the three with Rory and Commander Steel and what's her name?
The Canary, White Canary.
No. When they went back to 1951 and they captured
Oh,
the alien, those were all Legends characters.
Yes, that's true.
So they did, the first half, and then the second half, it really just turned into like the finale for this crossover. And that was actually, the finale wasn't bad. The final battle was okay, but I just the whole Arrow thing of it's just the CW for me just trying to do what they've always tried to do, and they put half their foot in and then they take the other half out. The 100th episode for Arrow fell in place of this massive crossover, and you're bringing back iconic characters like Maura Queen and Laurel Lance and Deathstroke, and it's just because there's so much going on with these episodes, they're thrown in for these like careless cameos of 5 seconds, and it just didn't work for me, and
Felt rushed, maybe.
it felt rushed, and I can't say I'm disappointed because I didn't go in with very high expectations anyway, but I didn't like it, and I think they failed.
Yeah,
And that's a missed opportunity for me.
Yeah. Yeah, just to piggyback off of that real quick, I went in with like the lowest of the lowest expectations, and that's why, because I was surprised for like 5% of the entire crossover, it was a success in my mind. I was
You're like, oh, I don't know who that character
that's actually
is.
kind of funny.
I want to point out, it is network.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's why I don't watch.
I think my
network
biggest
television, I think.
disappointment after watching the full 4 nights is like the enemy
Yeah.
still don't really get their intentions.
And there wasn't a lot of screen
Metahumans,
time
destroy them.
for
Simple.
them.
It
that.
just wasn't. I don't know. It just didn't.
No, it's simple. There is a potential
They see them as
threat.
a threat,
Wipe them out before they get there. That was their whole thing.
I felt like even like with last year's with using like Vandal Savage, as they fleshed it out a little bit better with that crossover with the Flash and the Arrow.
Well, they had, most of the season to do that. He wasn't just brought in for that.
Well, then I
episode,
wish
so-
they had done that with this crossover.
Hopefully they learned something from this. Well, actually, sorry, moderator, are we jumping all over the place?
Actually, since we've already started asking each other questions, I think we're in our question phase of this. So
Why is this
Can
guy
I just
blue?
make a quick comment?
Yeah, please,
which
please
could
do.
conceivably be, it's not really a question, but I just got to say, I think one of my favorite parts was the fact that the old warehouse from Star Labs was the freaking Hall of Justice.
That was pretty
It
cool.
was amazing.
yeah, actually, I was confused because every time
You're
that
like,
came
huh?
up, you guys were like, "Yeah!" You weren't that crazy, but I was like, "I'm confused
I
about why
think we
they're."
kind of might have
it's-
been.
so the
right
big
now.
thing with like the Justice League,
Yeah.
they to be like a force for good and to kind of like have a public face, they open up what they call the Hall of Justice, which is a public, if you
Monument,
will,
kind of,
monument
yeah.
/ museum, so that people can go and visit. And I think they are like, hey, we've got this old warehouse from Star Labs.
Yeah, it was just like.
And not only that, but they also have like a press thing with the new Madam President right at the end.
And the heroes.
And I think this also ties in with what the new, what's his face on The Flash?
Which
Wells,
what's his
the
face?
new hipster
Oh,
Wells.
HR.
HR. Remember, he's like, we should rebrand.
That's true.
That's
I
true.
believe
I
this
didn't-
is all leading towards
Oh.
a Hall of Justice.
That's
I
gonna
think
be
that's
so
what we're
awesome.
getting to, which is great. I think it's really cool.
Oh, can we just mention
With big
that
statues and everything.
That's
Hopefully.
super
that
exciting.
the president of the
Sorry.
United States died and took
Yes, that was very annoying. That was
funny.
really annoying.
like, oh,
The
bye, Mr.
president of the
President.
freaking United States of
Incinerated.
America is vaporized,
Not
and
mentioned ever
it's
again.
not mentioned
It was
for
mentioned
2
in passing.
episodes.
Yeah.
Is it?
There were
Is it
more
a
pressing
coincidence?
issues.
It's like,
Hold on.
what?
There were more pressing issues. There were aliens trying to kill them.
I will say this about the aliens.
True.
The design of the
Gotta
aliens, I thought
deal
was
with the
actually
immediate.
pretty good.
The-
So the actual aliens themselves, I thought looked pretty creepy. I was like, oh, that's actually not bad for network television.
I did like
The way they
their
looked.
creepy teeth.
Yeah, the creepy teeth and the whole thing,
creepy
the way
teeth,
they
the
moved, I was
creepy,
like, oh, you know what? That's not bad. That's really not that bad. Actually, so speaking of the Hall of Justice, you said they're building up toward this thing, which I still don't really understand, but that's okay.
We just explained it.
Yeah, we really did.
Two parts of this question. After this crossover, do you see all 4 shows continuing as they are?
No.
Yes.
I don't know complete. Well, Supergirl, I have no idea.
Okay, so please,
Maybe.
yeah, let's talk about this.
Maybe,
You answer
but-
first. So.
Oh wait, when you say continue, like just in the same way?
Yeah, in the same way.
Oh, yeah,
or something,
absolutely.
or something
They'll
getting
ignore it.
canceled, or are they just gonna,
Or wait, are they gonna
They
get
might pull in
canceled?
little references and
will something
oh.
get canceled? Do you see all 4 shows
Continue
as
to
they
next
are
year?
continuing
No,
past
not
next
not a
season?
chance.
Okay, which ones?
It sounds like, from what I've read,
Mm-hmm.
that Arrow's in the most danger of getting canned just because they've hit 100 episodes, they've hit syndication, everyone's contract gets more expensive, the show gets more expensive to create, and the show's ratings have been slipping the last few years, and they continue to do that. To me, it just seems like it makes sense to just kind of end Arrow, and then creatively, it's just not in a great place.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, when they set out to make Arrow, they set out as it was a 5-year plan because he was on the island for 5 years, or he was away for 5 years, and the idea was to show the 5 years of flashbacks, and this is that final year, so I just don't see it continuing.
Gotcha.
And then, Legends of Tomorrow also seems to be in trouble. They're moving that to Tuesday nights to try and boost the ratings, and it's one of their more expensive shows.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you would think so, right, with that big ensemble.
Right.
Yeah.
And the effects, it's very effects heavy.
Right. Sarah, how do you foresee the?
I think Flash
C-dubs?
is still hitting its stride, so
Mm-hmm.
that's still got some life in it. Arrow's kind of been on the way out, but I don't know. Maybe it'll get better. I keep hoping.
What about
And
rolling?
it just kind of meanders along.
Yeah. What about rolling the Arrow into one of those other shows?
Well, if we had talked about
Legends.
what if they rolled it into
Yeah, into
Legends, but if
Legends.
Legends isn't going to make it, then
yeah.
What are they
we
gonna
could
roll it
con-
into?
You can't really roll it into Flash because you need Arrow. Green Arrow needs to have his own. I guess you could if they're going to roll in the Hall of Justice. You could pull him in to Star City. Speaking of Hall of Justice, Krishna, this is when we kept going. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome. I don't know if this is probably too small, but
yeah,
for those who
nobody
don't
can see
know,
that.
the
Nobody can
Hall.
see
Just
that.
Google Hall of Justice.
Hall of Justice.
If you don't know, then
Holland
you probably weren't watching
Justice
the
League of
crossover
America.
anyway.
So many JSS. Yeah, JSS.
JSA.
You, Abby, what do you think? What's your predictions?
I'll say this. This was probably the pinnacle for Arrow, Flash, Legends, right? Like you all said, Arrow's kind of like bleh. Arrow should probably end, which is fine. I think Legends should stay around because Legends is a great way to introduce new characters.
And to incorporate as a lot of these shows have tons of superheroes, as we've seen, it's a good way to give more screen time to those superheroes.
And then with
People
Legends
others
coming
like
out,
Joe
or
Tex.
if you continue using Legends, you can use it as a way to make new individual shows. So I think there is an opportunity here, if Warner Brothers is listening,
And
where
we still invite you to call us.
where you use you need to get in your heads that your shows are only going to last 3 to 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is through that 3 to 4 seasons, you discover and figure out what characters are interesting, and you create individual series for those characters, and you continuously refresh it, bump everything up into these crossover events. Because DC has hundreds of characters.
I realized
It's almost
it
an
earlier.
unlimited wealth.
Speaking of unlimited wealth of characters, they completely ignored the whole Artemis thing and didn't even bring her into any of it.
Well, she's off being secretive and evil.
Yes, but they don't know that.
True.
And then they didn't react to the fact that she's not around.
But
on Arrow.
but all the shows did that. Like when Legends came in, they left 2 of the Legends at home until that 3rd episode. for
Right.
no apparent
Right,
reason.
but it was even in
No,
the
they
pilot
said they
episode,
said
she
it. They
wasn't
said
there.
it. They said we broke off and they're taking care of the ship or something. I don't remember.
Right,
What it was.
and it was
They
just,
addressed it.
and then like, oh, after the Arrow episode, it's like we dropped off Thea back in Star City. Like she didn't, like it's just they just found the it didn't make a lot of sense sometimes with the characters. Like the Arrow episode, we saw the Flash and Supergirl, but what about the rest of the Legends and stuff that were back in Star City? What were they doing at that time?
Wait, in
and
which
whatnot.
episode?
I
in the
think
Arrow
you're asking
episode.
a lot of CW shows. I'm also
cable television.
I'm also kind of it's not even cable television.
Could you imagine if Netflix
It's-
had this?
And Netflix could do some amazing things because they don't have the same constraints. But I'm really I'm surprised at Arjuna's reaction.
Me too.
In terms of what?
Actually, no, I'm not
It's-
surprised. I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
He's usually not quite so grumpy about the
The
show.
CW.
You're super grumpy
That's
about all
usually-
these shows
that's usually
tonight.
me.
Yeah, you're like usually you're like more on board with these cheesy ass shows that we watch.
It's just a new low for me. I feel
Oh,
like they took the
Arjuna's
logic.
having a bad week
They
and
took
this
the
didn't
low.
help.
They took the low logic and it went even lower. Like that's what I feel with this. Like I feel this was their opportunity with a 4-episode crossover. It's something that hasn't
Three.
been done. A 3-episode crossover of 3 different shows to really
Right.
do something special, even with the constraints. You had 3 shows. You had an open wealth of things to do, and they kind of just played it really safe. And
Yes.
and especially like with the fact that you probably won't have this opportunity to do something like that again next year. And you could have done something.
Well,
the
well,
flip side
can
of
we
that-
can we
hold
talk
on.
real quick? Can we talk about the numbers? Because
Sure.
didn't you bring up the numbers and weren't Supergirl hit its all-time high?
On the CW.
What about Flash and
Flash
Arrow?
also hit a new high. There were no numbers released for Arrow or Legends.
I'd be
Yeah,
curious
yeah.
to see what the numbers are because here's the thing: if you're an executive, you want to play it safe because this is like you just said, this is a new opportunity. Nobody's done this before. There's no research. They don't know what could happen, so you want to play it safe.
Yeah, but
Also-
oh, sure, go ahead.
You've got okay. Oh, they've got a wealth of things they can do. They still only have 4 episodes, and those episodes are hour-long television shows. Take out commercial time. You've got what 45 minutes
Something
max
like that, yeah.
of show to do. That's just not. And when you're splitting it up like that, if it was one big movie, sure, they got plenty of time to develop a whole story. But they're splitting it up, and they still have to focus on the individual shows because you still want to maintain your audience for each individual show.
Sounds difficult.
It's just there's a lot going on, and they can't fully develop a lot of really complex stories. It's just not going to happen. They use an entire season to develop not remotely complex stories, so they sure can't do it in 4 episodes with all of the other stuff that's going on. Then throw actual heavy story in there.
I wasn't looking for heavy story. I'm just looking for something that's a little more coherent. It just wasn't coherent for me.
There were aliens in all of them.
The other
What more do you want?
the other thing with the ratings, this is what's interesting about the timing of the crossover too. So
Sure.
the high ratings are great for the special event, but you want that to continue on. So Supergirl's this Monday episode was their mid-season
Finale.
hiatus, and then I
Right.
think next week is the mid-season finales for the other shows. So that almost kills your momentum because then you take a month off.
No, I mean
That gives them a month to go back and watch the previous episodes.
to me
and get back into
that
it.
builds tension. That's weird to say it like that.
No,
But if
Sort
you,
of leave him on a cliffhanger.
right, yeah.
Want
I
some
mean
more?
cliffhangers.
Not cliffhanger, but
I
well,
mean,
at
you've
an
drawn
all-time
somebody
high.
in, and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
the anticipation of the show. Then it's on. Okay, I've got to find out when that's on again. So and then they watch it. It's a mission.
I think we all agree. Arrow, like the big thing for me for Arrow that kind of annoyed me, like you had said earlier.
The Deathstroke thing.
My God, why did
Yeah,
you
that
not
was a
let
waste.
the damn actor speak? Why didn't you get him?
That-
Why didn't you
well,
get brother?
He didn't. He said he wasn't going to come back on because of how they handled his character.
You.
Well, I don't blame him. They messed up his character.
how'd they mess up his character?
The
I haven't
whole
seen
the
it,
whole
so-
love. I mean, they had a whole love thing for Deathstroke. They CW'd it.
They
and,
did.
and he wasn't very happy with that, and understandably because that's not Deathstroke's character.
At all.
Right.
No, but that the appearance,
He's ruthless.
The very small appearance of Deathstroke, and Robbie and I both had the
pretty
same
cool.
reaction. Robbie was like, I want to make that costume, and I was like, I want to make not like the girl boob version of that like cosplay. I want to make a slimmed down female version of that costume too. Like it was so awesome.
It's a pretty badass costume.
It is.
Oh yeah, so
Really badass.
how about they brought all the villains back, but they couldn't get the actor who played Ra's al Ghul, so they just didn't have him when at the end.
Oh, the Arrow episode?
I look at it this way because for the most during that fight sequence you're talking about,
Yes.
right? I look at it as those are all like the biggest enemies for those characters except for Raymond Palmer
Yeah, I was
because
gonna say.
who cares about Raymond?
Ray doesn't
Well,
really.
Deathstroke was more of a character-defining villain for Oliver than I think Ra's al Ghul.
No, well, I think the idea or how they lined it up was these were the villains of each of the first 4 seasons of Arrow, of the Dark Archer, Malcolm Merlin,
Right.
Deathstroke. It should have been Ra's al Ghul and then Damien
See,
Dark.
I looked at it
That's
as
how I
I
looked
looked
at
at
it
it as like
as.
the personal demons
Of each
one.
character
Like,
that they
Fear,
battled.
her father,
I agree with that.
what's her face with
Sarah.
you know, with Dark, and then like I said, Oliver
Diggle
with,
and Raymond taking on.
well,
Well, now
Diggle,
that
it
makes
makes
perfect
because it
sense.
was the
Yeah, for sure.
it was the
The whatever they called them,
right, yeah.
Dark's people.
Either way, they failed.
But well, I mean, Ray didn't really have anybody, but
The
I could
Adams.
see that because I mean, let's be real. If Ra's al Ghul is going to be anyone's big nemesis, he'd probably end up being Sarah's. I mean, either Sarah's or Oliver's.
there's a better one,
but
not Dark.
Dark is better, yeah, because she,
They're
she's
just gonna get the
still
egg.
in a vengeance for him. So
Actually, I do have one question. Just to bring up a point where it was a four-part crossover, but done through the lens of each individual show. Why couldn't they have just created a 4-part series, maybe not necessarily tied to any specific show, which would give you more creative freedom? Because essentially, you're getting all of those casts together anyway to film. So logistically, monetarily, I can't see what the disadvantage would have been to
essentially have a mini series.
a 4-part mini series
Agreed.
where you could brand it under all 4 shows, but not necessarily tie each episode to a specific show.
Well,
because
Wait, I'm confused by
So-
that. What do you mean? I mean, they did that. The Dominators.
No,
No, but-
that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Like what he's saying is like tonight was more league. Your fault. More
Legends,
Legends focused. Arrow was very
Flash.
Arrow focused. Flash was very
Yeah.
Flash focused.
Sure.
Everyone else
Supergirl
was there,
was
but
just a
what
Supergirl
he's saying is, yeah, it was just a Supergirl
Yeah.
episode, dude. But what he's saying is like it's just 4 nights of one big movie stretched out into 4 nights and separated up like a mini
miniseries.
series.
But it's focusing on each of the.
But not
No,
focusing
no.
on the programs. It's just one big one. So
It's
you
just
don't have
part
to.
1, 2, 3, and
you aren't
4.
pulling out and
There's
saying
no-
tonight is the
I
Arrow
feel like
night.
it could have been stronger creatively.
No. Because there are people that don't watch all 3 or 4 shows.
Yeah, but
Like
if
there are
you're
people
still-
that are like, I am strictly an Flash fan. I'm strictly into Barry Allen. I don't like Oliver. I don't like the White Canary. I don't like any of those characters. So you
Yeah.
still have to a degree, make the show about your favorite character
Yeah,
because
but-
because it's like you turn on the Patriots game and it's advertised as the Patriots, but they're doing a crossover event and the Bears are playing instead.
Hey,
Well, so-
hey, there is
Same
nothing wrong
idea.
with the Bears
Well,
play.
so you say that.
Go Bears.
But to be a fan of Legends of Tomorrow, you had to have watched Arrow and or Flash to kind of have an
Right,
idea.
but
of
then
what
to
was
Christian's
going on.
point, the episode of Legends of Tomorrow was all over the place.
That was more
Right?
of
That's
your
that's,
true
that's more
crossover.
of what you're saying. But the Supergirl episode, the Flash episode, the Arrow episode, they were specific to those three.
But your audience, I mean, the CW knows with the whole superhero thing, they have a niche audience, right? This isn't a super large, 20 million strong fan base that is breaking TV records, right? You have a small but dedicated fan base, and chances are a lot of those fans do watch elements of all 3 or 4 shows. The one they played it safe with, which you understand, is Supergirl because it came from a different network. It had a different audience.
No,
That's
I still
why they
don't
played
understand. I think it was a waste.
It totally was, but
Doesn't count.
But they totally that and that's my point. They played the whole thing safe. Just be bold.
All right.
Do something
Go
different.
big.
Go big or go home. So to wrap this up, we already talked sort of about where we each think, or where you guys think the future of these shows are going. Personally,
This is projections.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, this is your own personal
I
projection.
do graphics. So
Are you?
I have to know.
Yeah.
You're not cueing me properly, man. Come on.
Wait, projections
Last
are...
section,
Use
sir.
the key words.
I will just put it on my phone and be like, nah, 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 nah. Oh no. I'm gonna ask each of you: are you gonna keep watching each show past this crossover event? Rafi.
Supergirl, no, because I never watched that.
Mm-hmm.
Arrow, Flash, Legends, yes.
All three?
All three.
Even Arrow.
Even Arrow.
At what point are you giving up on Arrow?
After this season.
Okay, are you sure?
This is it. This is all I'm giving it, and then I'm gonna say, during that hour, what I'll do next year, during the 2017,
While I watch it.
during the 2017-18, I'll do ab exercises for that entire time.
To look like
Wait, what's it called? Yeah, what's it called that he does?
I have no idea, but I'll do that
tomorrow.
instead if it continues. I do think though that they have similar to kind of what Marvel does with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with the movies, where it's the movies introduce something new, right? So I know we're getting to the Marvel universe here, but more recently there's the Sokovian Accords, right? That's playing a role right now in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They kind of get little boosts or jumps, if you will, because of the movies. I'm curious to see if what we saw this week is what they're gonna use to kind of boost. They don't have the luxury of movies, right, to help boost things along.
they'll boost each
So
other.
they'll boost each other with these crossovers. There was just a giant alien invasion.
And yeah,
that's
you don't
not
go
that's
back
not
after
gonna
that.
necessarily affect Legends of Tomorrow. Arrow and the Flash, that is totally going to affect the day-to-day operations, right?
I don't think it will. Nor in these CW shows.
I think it will. I think it will.
opens up too many opportunities for them to just leave it. Because now we don't... Because, I mean, let's be real with Flash. We're in what season are we in Flash?
3.
We've 3 seasons in. We are still battling metahumans. And fine, but let's throw some aliens in there. It's getting a little old. Let's mix it up. So I don't think they're going to waste that opportunity. You know?
I mean, they've introduced...
There's so many different things.
So
you can do with that.
the DC universe is very rich in, obviously, metahumans. It's very rich in the whole parallel multi-universe. They introduced that. They now just finally introduced aliens. That opens up a whole new world.
And a whole other level of technology.
Boom
because,
tubes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, with the metahumans...
Boom tubes
great,
is
but
what
you
like
only-
Darkseid and all
it's-
those people use.
It's still all human, and so the technology is still all the same. But now they've got all this other, not just the aliens themselves, but all the alien technology that's coming in boom tubes, whatever.
I'm very excited for the future of CW.
Interesting. So we have a very positive outlook.
Except
minus
for Arrow.
Which is
and
interesting
and
for me.
that
Arrow.
stupid show. You can't fix it. Nothing can fix it.
Oh my
What?
goodness.
Arrow?
Actually, well,
Supergirl? What?
Arrow.
There's only one way to fix it.
Bring back Deathstroke and they're best friends.
Kill everyone on the show.
No. The entire show is just Slade Wilson and Oliver Queen just hanging out.
Drinking beer.
Arjuna, please tell us, will you be watching any of these shows going forward?
Yeah, reluctantly.
Oh, damn. Okay.
No,
I
I still will watch the shows. I still am. Each of these shows I have enjoyed at one point or another for a different reason. I will continue to hold out hope. Legends and Flash are probably my favorite shows of the 4. Specifically Legends, I think they're really starting to hit their stride in season 2. I really would like Rip Hunter to come back. Really miss him.
Rory?
You know what I don't... sorry, quick side thing.
Sure,
You know
go
what I don't understand? And in the first episode, when Rip disappeared, I kind of wanted to spoil it for myself. So I looked on IMDb, and it says the actor, he's credited for every episode.
Yeah,
I
because
think
he's
it's because
still
they
a
showed the
star.
Flash at the beginning.
He's still starring, and one of the actors revealed he'll be back like either the mid-season finale or the second mid-season, like the mid-season premiere. So he's coming back, but
Cool.
there's going to be some timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
That's what the show's all about, right?
He is the Dr. Rory.
Sarah.
Yes.
How about you? You'll be watching...
Well, I never watched Supergirl.
So Supergirl's off.
I wanted to like Supergirl, and I wanted to watch it, but I just can't
To
make
be
myself
fair,
watch it.
that was a really bad episode of Supergirl.
Arjuna watches Supergirl. Anyway, so no wonder he's so... Bless you. No wonder he's so grumpy. He watches
I'm
Supergirl.
allergic to Supergirl.
No,
sneezed.
we might always. I like the character. The show was not. And I want to like it
The
too
show-
because they've got Martian Manhunter on there. They've got some good stuff that they can do with it. They've got Superman. I don't know. There's just a lot that could be done, and I just felt it was super cheesy. And I'm not. I don't know. I can't.
It's
I don't-
no
I
more
don't think
cheesy
I'm
than
gonna try that.
Flash, though. That's the only thing. Specifically, Flash
Says
season
you,
1.
but I will say.
Wait, but season 1 of Flash was season 1 of Flash, and then season 2 they kind of raised the bar.
This is
This is season 2 of
This is
Supergirl.
season
but you
one
also
on
have to.
CW,
but,
so they can't make that jump yet. I give them that.
I would say season 1 on CBS was a lot better than since they moved to CW.
So anyway, Supergirl.
No.
I don't know. Not necessarily. I would like to watch it, but I'm gonna have to find time to watch it by myself because I don't think I can make Robbie watch that, which is fine. I may not bother, but who knows? Flash and Arrow and Legends, yes.
Cool.
But they're entertaining. As much as Robbie hates character development episodes, and he apparently hates Arrow and won't watch it after this season,
He'll be back. I know.
I'm interested to see what happens with Arrow now that they're supposed to stop doing the flashbacks, which is getting super old. That's what's driven a lot of the episodes to the last since it began, and it's just getting ridiculous at this point. So I'm kind of interested to see. Like, it'll be a show, and maybe they'll have to actually write things instead of making him bratva. So
They said
I
they
am
would.
Bratva.
They said
He's weird. I
they
do
said
not
they
know.
would still implement flashbacks, like they've done in previous seasons, like where Diggle would have the flashbacks.
Well, no, that's a little bit
Like,
of flashback is fine,
they'd
but they
still
have
have
this. They
those
have these
here and there.
flashbacks that run through the whole season,
yeah.
and you've got a whole season's worth of like 2 storylines, one flashback storyline and one current, and they tie them together, and it's really annoying. So I want to see how they do it without that, and maybe it'll improve because that's really the main thing that annoys me. That's kind of annoyed me about Arrow is that we
Pretty much
feel the
since
need to
season
tie it into the
3.
flashbacks.
All right.
So
Well, Ravi, Sarah, and Arjuna, I realized I did not introduce us in the beginning. That's who we are. Oh, I'm Krishna. Oh, for me, I will not be watching these shows. That's my projection for these.
he didn't watch it before, and he's not gonna watch them now.
Thank you so much for tuning in to watch our special episode on the CW crossover event, Heroes vs. Aliens. We will be having our
Westworld.
Westworld.
special this Sunday. We have a very busy week for LuZoCast. So please tune in for that. That will be a longer episode, more in depth, because we want to cover Westworld.
More
obviously,
screaming.
And
that
live
is,
after.
we all love Westworld. So
And live after the series,
live
after the season end.
It ends, correct. So again, from Krishna, Arjuna, Sarah, and Ravi, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you very soon. A couple of days, actually.
Or you'll hear us.